Welcome, friends, to this 3-day event in Dubai. I'm very happy to come here after several decades. I think my last visit was in the 70s. It's very nice to know that in this world there are so many seekers who are seeking their true home, which we call Sachkhand, true home. This place where we live now is not our home. This is a place of duality, pairs of opposites. Here we have pain and pleasure, light and darkness, and we have everything that we experience in a duality. Our own true home has no duality. Therefore, we have been separated from our true home in our experience so that we can have a different kind of experience and then go back. It is like going to a carnival or going to an amusement park to have a little ride, have a little fun for the day, and in the evening we come back home. We came for the same purpose in this world. We came to have a different experience that does not exist in our world of non-duality, and therefore we created and came into a world which has pairs of opposites, and the idea was we will have some time here and then go back home. Somehow, the instruments we used to experience this physical world and the world of senses and the world of our mind, the three worlds of illusion or Maya, we got so entrapped in the attractions that we thought that we could make this world our own. And we began to make those things our own which can never become our own. For example, we began to build our houses here and we thought that is our house, as if we are going to live here permanently. We know very clearly that people die. Nobody has lived forever. Great saints came, mystics came, philosophers came talking about the truth, and they all had to leave this world and this body and go away. Nothing has gone with them. There was a great conqueror of half the world, Alexander the Great. He came to India and he looted so many temples. He acquired so much gold. He acquired so much wealth by looting people, killing people. And when he had laden all that wealth on his camels and horses and was going back to Egypt, on the way he fell sick. And the doctors told him, who were accompanying him, that Alexander the Great, even you have to die, your end has come. He said, I cannot die, because when I was a child, a gypsy told me that Alexander, you are immortal. You can never die. You will only die when this earth turns into silver and the sky turns into gold. Since that can never happen, therefore Alexander thought he was immortal and he could never die. But his fever was so high, he could not even ride a horse at that time. He had a silver armor which he used in battle. They laid down his silver armor on the ground and put him on the ground, and on top he had a golden umbrella, golden canopy. They put that golden canopy. When he saw the silver underneath and he saw the gold above, he said, the gypsy was right, I am going to die because the sky has become gold for me and the earth has become silver. He said, I have killed so many people, made so many children orphans, made women widows, and I can't carry all the wealth that I am carrying on my horses and camels. He said, I'll give all this wealth away if somebody can give me a few more breaths so I can reach Egypt. The doctor said, there's no way you can go. Then Alexander ordered that when he dies and his body is put in the coffin, his hand should be left outside. So the whole world should know that even Alexander the Great, when he died, went empty-handed. And that was precisely done in his grave. His hand was left outside the coffin and he was buried. Nobody has ever stayed here forever. These bodies are temporary. We all have these temporary bodies and we will leave them. But imagine how much attention we give to acquiring things for this body. This is my house, this is my car, these are my children, these are my friends. We are constantly saying these things, and when we die, nothing goes with us at all. And we suddenly at the time of death realize, why did we waste so much time on acquiring things and getting attached to those things which cannot become our own? This is a puzzle that has been not solved by anybody, that why we are doing this when we know we are going to die. The problem is that the gypsy was also right. The gypsy was not talking of his body. The gypsy was saying that the soul is not going to die. There is something inside that makes the body alive, and that never dies. And that is our real self. The soul or Atma is our real self and never dies. That is why the gypsy was referring to the soul, whereas Alexander the Great thought the gypsy was talking about his body. Everybody's body is left behind, turned to ashes, or it turns into the grave, into the dust of a burial. So that is why we are reminded again and again, we are wasting our time in trying to make things and people our own when they can never become our own. We have seen the example of others. There is a saying that somebody went to the funeral. Some relative died and a lot of people were invited to come to the funeral. And when they were at the funeral, they all realized they are going to die. So their flame of death was visible over their heads. And they were conscious that consciousness, we will all die like this person has died, we will die. There was a flame shining on their heads. As they left the cremation grounds, the flame began to disappear. And by the time they reached their homes, it all disappeared. We don't remember this. The same thing will happen to all of us. Then what is the answer to this question? That if we are not going to be here forever, where do we belong? We belong to the house, the home, the true place from where we came, which is our ultimate abode, from where we came for a short visit. We did not come for a long visit here at all. Why did we come here at all? A question that has been asked by many of my friends to me, that if our true home was so good and so wonderful and we were living in peace and happiness, why did we have to come here at all in the first place? The reason was that our real nature is consciousness. That means the ability to be conscious, the ability to be aware of anything we want. That is life. Life is the ability to have experience. And we are always having experiences, whether we were in our true home or anywhere else. It was only to widen that experience, to have a new experience, that we decided to come into these physical, astral, causal worlds, the world of the mind, the world of the senses, and the world of the physical body. These are three covers we put on ourselves to have new experiences. These are costumes. We borrowed some costumes and put them on to participate in a show, in a drama, which will end. First of all, we put on the costume of a mind. That is where the basic problem started. We were having a rejoicing and a very nice place in our home in Sachkhand, where there was no time and no space. Now here, sitting here, we can't even imagine such a place. All our imagination here is confined to the mind, in time and space. Our true home has no time and no space. So to have a different experience, time and space were created by a small instrument which was added to our consciousness, to our soul, called the human mind. The mind creates the experience of time and space. This creates vastness and also creates past, present and future. Very convenient way to put events upon it and then go through events and have a new experience altogether. We never had that in our true home. We said we'll widen our experience and added on a little computer-like machine to our consciousness, which we today call the mind. The mind thinks. It's been set on motion so that it can think and can keep on thinking for a very long time. The average life of a mind, some people have estimated, is as much as 3 to 5 million physical years. That means each one of us is having a thinking machine in our head which has a very long life, much longer than the life of the physical body. The mind's life is 3 to 5 million years, whereas our own self, our consciousness, our Atma, our soul is immortal, has no end of its life. It was never born and will never die, but the mind is born and dies after a very long time. Once the mind creates time and space, it puts events upon it, happenings. Things are happening. Those happenings take place only in time and space, which is a very good new experience. We are having it. But when you put a number of events on the timeline into space, then you link them together. This linkage is called the law of karma, law of cause and effect, because those events that were placed on timeline, they were linked with each other, and the past, present and future came into being. If you think about it carefully, there is no real past, present and future. This is very interesting to examine, even with common sense and with a scientific mind, that are we living in the past or the present or the future? Right now, where are we? There is some author and a speaker who says we should live in the now. He recommends we should live in the now. I was very surprised to hear that, because I don't know anybody in the world who's not living in the now already. We are all living only in the now. Now means the immediate present in which we are living. We don't live in the past. We are not living yesterdays. We are living now. Now, when you look at now, the word now, when I say, before I've said it, it's future. And after I've said it, it's past. It never stopped. Now has no time at all. That means we are really, even at this time, not living any time, we are living in a timeless now. How do we then have a past, present and future? If we are living in a timeless now, we are living because of memory. When we remember something, it becomes our past. Supposing we had no memory, there will be no past. So therefore, when we say now, it does not mean the real now because it has no time. It means the immediate past. When I speak a few words, I am speaking in the present, in the now. Present is not true present. Technically, present is only a timeless now. And since we cannot describe anything timeless, we are calling the immediate past as present. So present is really past. Only is very recent past. What about future? Is there such a thing as future? We say our destinies are made, our karma is made, it is all coming from the future, that our future tomorrow, day after is written already. Is it possible to write all that in advance? Or is it also an illusion? The truth is that if we do not have three functions in our mind, the function of hope, function of fear, function of anticipation. If we do not have hope for anything, if we are not afraid of anything, and if we are not anticipating anything happening, there is no future. Did you know if we take out these three words from all the dictionaries of the world, the whole concept of future will disappear. We are making a future by hoping and anticipating and saying, this will be, I am afraid it will happen, I hope it will happen. When we say these things, we create a future. Otherwise, there is no future at all. And in order to hope, in order to be afraid, again, it's a thought process in the mind and takes place in the past. The moment you hoped for something before you hoped, there was nothing. When you hoped, it took time. If you examine very carefully what we are calling time here, The Hindi translation is Kal. Kal is time, and I'll explain to you how significant this Kal has become in our life. That if there was no time, and we create time by a process of our mind, by thinking with our mind, anticipating, talking in our head, we are creating a future, we are creating a past, and we are creating a present. There is no time involved at all. Yet the experience becomes real. The only way we can live in the past is through memory. If you don't remember, there is no past. Therefore, what we call past is really memory. What we call present is also memory. What we call future is also memory. Memory means something happened and we are remembering it now. Where did it happen? It can never happen here because there is no time here. So it has to happen somewhere where time can be frozen and things can happen. That is why what we are looking at this world, it's a big illusion that we think there is real time flowing here. It's not real. It's been created by our experience of consciousness. The way we experience things has created a sense of time. But there are places, there are experiences built into us where time can be frozen and you can put in a bunch of 1 million events in no time and then play them out through illusion of time. This is exactly what we have done. Our destiny was never made here because there is no time here to make in the now. Our destiny was made where the time could be frozen, time could be seen all at once. That's a wonderful place where that happened. And that place where it happened has to be something inside us. It cannot be manufactured outside and then experienced inside. It has to be manufactured somewhere inside us. Now, there is an experience which we define generally as meditation. What is meditation? Meditation means to meditate upon something, to think about something, to keep on ruminating about something, keep on repeating something in your head is meditation. We are all great meditators. We are meditating upon our children, meditating upon our properties, meditating upon our money, meditating upon all the things outside of ourselves. We don't meditate upon our own self. We meditate upon things and people who are outside of our own self. Therefore, as meditators, we have got involved in continuously thinking about outside things. And we have trained our mind to only think about outside things. Now, supposing you want to meditate not outside, but inside your own self. That means supposing you don't think this body is your real self. It's not real self because it'll die. Where is your immortal self? It must be sitting somewhere in the body. Let us locate where our real self is sitting inside the body. When we say we are alive, we open our eyes and we can see the world. We open our ears, we can hear the world. We open our tongue, we can speak to the world. We have our sense touch and we can touch this world. When we are doing this thing, we can smell the flowers outside through our nose. These sense perceptions that we are having are creating our experience of this world. These 5 senses are creating an experience of this world. They have been clubbed together under the word in English perception, that we are perceiving these things through our sense perceptions and they are operating within this body, but they are not operating outside. The eyes that see are inside the body, not outside. All these organs that are having sense perceptions are inside the body. So, where do we actually perceive, where do we have the perception, does not take long. You can just think of yourself as a life item of life, consciousness. That you are aware of something, you are conscious, and then close your eyes and find out, where am I sitting? Who am I? Fundamental question that all these saints and philosophers have come up with is, who am I really? Am I a body? Am I something else? And where am I? Obviously, since all our perceptions are taking place from inside this body, therefore we are somewhere inside. Then we can examine, are we in our hands? Are we in our legs and feet? Or are we operating from somewhere else? It does not take very long to find out we are operating from somewhere in our head. And the eyes are placed in the head, the ears are placed in the head, the mouth is in this very small area. Rest of the body, the torso and the limbs are only attached to it. So it does not take very long to know that our whole area of discovering who we really are, if we are not the body, is in a small area, right around our eyes and behind. This can be further narrowed down by meditating upon the question, who am I? What is my reality? If I am thinking inside, where am I thinking from? If I am examining something inside without speaking, without using the body, where am I doing it from? If I am getting a feeling about something, where am I getting it from? And by putting yourself with closed eyes inside your body, you can put yourself anywhere you like. We have got 3 very important gifts given to us as human beings. Very, very important gifts. First gift is, of course, life, that we are alive and we can see things, we can experience things, we are alive in this world. Big gift. To be a human being who can think is a big gift. Second gift is that we can have an awareness which we can examine through attention. Supposing I want to look at these flowers sitting next to me, I can turn and put my attention on the flowers. Supposing I put a lot of attention on the flowers, I will forget who's sitting there, I'll just be thinking of the flowers. This ability to have attention in our consciousness and the power to concentrate it anywhere we like, best gift given to human beings. There's nothing greater than that. It's the most valuable gift given to human beings, to have the power of attention which can be concentrated wherever you like. How does it work? It works that if you put your attention on something and concentrate your attention on that, you become unaware of other things. The important thing is not what you're becoming aware of. Important thing is that you can become unaware of other things. That's a great gift. If you're sitting with your eyes blindly looking everywhere, just mind going all over the world, you're not concentrating. But if you concentrate your attention, you can make things disappear from your awareness. Big gift. How does it help? It helps that if you concentrate your attention on your own self, where am I sitting inside the body? If you put your attention on your own self inside the body, you can become unaware of the body. You can also become unaware of the world. This is the power of concentration of attention. So meditation is to meditate generally upon something, but when you can concentrate your attention on something, you can have an experience which is not diffused in the whole world. It can be very specific. It can be so specific that you can even discover who you are inside the body and become unaware of the body itself with this power. So real meditation, which is recommended by all these saints and mystics, that you can concentrate your attention within yourself, you can discover who you are. So long as we keep on using our sense perceptions to look outside, we are diffused, scattered. Our attention is scattered, our awareness is scattered, and we think of multitude of things all over. When we want to put our attention on our own inner self, real self, then we can do that because of this great gift we have been given. So the gift of attention and concentration of attention is the secret to discovering who we are if we are not the body. That's a big thing, to discover that you are something else. The body is merely a cover. By putting attention inside, we can concentrate to a point where we become unaware of the body. Where should we place our attention? This is examined by so many people. Where should we put attention? Many people are putting their attention on their heart because they feel that the heart is where the blood is being pumped, and we are living because of our heartbeat, because we are living in the circulation of our blood in the body. They will put their attention on the heart. They noticed that when they put their attention on the heart, they were thinking in the head and putting attention at the heart. They are not putting attention on themselves. They are putting attention on something other than themselves, the heart. Many yogis, many people who searched their truth, began to examine what else is there in the body where we can put attention. They found out that our whole life is being led by several energy centers in us, which they called the several chakras, centers of energy. They said there are 6 basic chakras they discovered, and the main torso of the body, starting from the bottom, at the rectum, in the genitals, in the digestive system, at the navel, in the heart, in the throat, and in the eyes. They found out that these are centers. If you concentrate your attention on any one of them, you can get a different experience based upon where that attention is being located. And each one of these centers is functioning separately to keep us alive, to make us have the knowledge of the whole world. The body is going on by itself. We never tell the heart to beat. We don't tell the lungs to breathe. It's automatic. How it is being done? We walk. There are muscles of the body. 257 muscles have to work together for a child to walk. If you calculate the average time to be given to a child to learn 257 muscles, it can take 10-12 years. Child walks after 1 year. These are all coordinated by the energy centers inside. These energy centers are responsible for all our life. The energy centers give us all the experiences of this whole world. Therefore, because they were so easily identified, many yogis, yogeshwars, people who wanted to find the truth about themselves, they concentrated their attention on these 6 centers. This was in a way, a good experience because they could find that putting attention on any one of these centers inside can make you forget your body and just concentrate on that center, and a new kind of experience opens up. It is very interesting to do it. I don't know how many of you have tried it. When I was very young, I tried all these different methods because I thought this is a good way to understand yourself. But then it came to me that why am I thinking from the head and putting attention on something that is below me? This didn't make sense. If I am discovering who I am, who the self is, why should I not discover where it is lying, from where we are putting attention down in the first place? Therefore, there were great mystics who came, who said that there is a division in this body. This physical body of ours has 2 parts, completely divided. And division is at the level of the eyes. Below the eyes, all the centers govern our energy, our force of life. Above the eyes governs our awareness, our knowledge. Knowledge cannot come from below. Energy can come. Energetic experience can come, but not knowledge. So many of these people who were trying to find their true self by lowering their attention from below the eyes, they were getting experiences, but not knowledge. None of them became knowledgeable about the self. But they had great experiences, including out-of-body experiences, including finding out that by putting your attention inside, you can separate yourself and see the body as something separate. You could have many experiences by putting attention on these 6 centers of energy below. But there were several centers which were opening up more and more awareness. They were all lying above the eyes, not below. Big difference was between energy and awareness. A force that kept our body living and gave us experiences was one thing. But to know who we are, how we are participating in this activity, what is our true nature, what is our true self, where is the Atma, where is that immortal soul, could not be found through any of these centers. That could only be found by expanding your awareness behind the eyes and above the eyes. This led to the discovery of a meeting point between the centers of energy and the centers of awareness. The meeting points were these physical eyes, 2 eyes. In describing the centers of energy, they used the nomenclature from the lotus flower. And since the lotus flowers can have several petals, it can have 2-petal lotus or a 4-petal lotus, they started by looking at the eyes and saying, these are a 2-petal lotus of awareness. that we are having our knowledge of this world through a two-petal lotus, the two petals being the two eyes. And we have a spine going behind the body, which is carrying the whole information from the brain down to the body and spreading it out. So this body is constructed almost like a house, 6-story house. 6 stories of house, each center of energy is one level, 1 story. So different levels of the house you are building, and you have an elevator at the back. Very good construction. The body is constructed like a house, and we are living in it. So this house, which has 6 levels, and all of them are below the eyes, we spend our time into these 6 centers, enjoying various kinds of energy, enjoying various kinds of experiences that come from these energy centers. But we don't go too much into the interior part of our upper part of the head. What I am sharing with you here today, and I've always shared whenever I've given a chance to talk, is not my invention of something. It's a common thing everybody has. These great mystics came, saints came, they all had the same thing we all have. They don't separate. It's the same thing. I am only conveying to you teachings that I got from Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh, whose picture you see here. We call him Great Master. We call him Great Master because he was really great. And he was able to initiate me when I was very young. And I did not fully agree with what he was saying. I said that this can be a big hoax done by these gurus and these saintly people to trap us all into their own ashrams and deras and so on, and it is not real. I was a great skeptic. I doubted everything. So therefore, when I got into this, I did not fully agree. Even after getting initiated by him, even after getting Namdan from him, I did not accept it fully, because I said that I am doing it because my father followed him. I never got a chance to examine anything. Therefore, I tried these other things on my own. I said I should examine everything myself. So that is why today I can compare these notes, because I tried these myself. And I found out that what he was telling, most of the people don't know about. He was telling something new. I'll tell you a true story that my uncle, it's a personal story, but I'm sharing with you. You are like family. At my age, you are all like my children. I'll be 90 in November. So you can see that I can talk to you like an elderly person, like a grandfather. My uncle was posted in a town called Karachi, which is now in Pakistan, had a beautiful house by the sea and on a Clifton beach. Very beautiful place. He was also a follower of this great Satguru, Baba Sawan Singh, and he invited Babaji to come and stay with him for a little while. So I remember our families and all went together to go and visit Karachi. We went by train together. Now my father and my auntie, who's his wife, my uncle and his auntie were followers of this same master, but they used to go to one Swami in Karachi, whose name was Swami Brahmanand. He was a yoga teacher and was also an expert in Ayurvedic medicine. He used to give Ayurvedic medicine. So my uncle and auntie were going for Ayurvedic medicine, not so much to learn the yoga, because they were following this master. So when it was found out that this master of mine is going to Karachi, they went to their Swamiji and said, Swamiji, our Guru is coming from Punjab and we would like him to come and meet you. And Swamiji said, just bring him to me, I will bless him. They didn't want the Swami to bless the Guru, but somehow that is what the Swami said. So they were a little bit of a puzzle, who is going to bless who? So they arranged for a lunch one day, and of course, Great Master was living in their house and Swamiji was in an ashram. They decided to have a lunch and they put on a sofa set with 2 seats. They called it love seat or something. They said, we will put both the Master and the Swami together. We'll see what happens. And I was also one of the spectators to see what will happen. So when Swamiji came, he was a very beautiful man, sharp eyes. He used to wear a saffron-colored, orange-colored turban, orange dress, and was having a muffler type of thing on around his neck, which he used to hold with his hands. And he walked like this with great style. He was a man of style. So the Swamiji came and at lunch, and he sat down. Then they called Great Master. He came from his bedroom, and they introduced him. The Master sat with him, and they said, Master, this is our Swamiji from whom we get our Ayurvedic medicines. So Great Master folded his hand like this, and Swamiji raised his hand and said, I bless you. We saw this. We said, what is happening here? The Swamiji has blessed our Guru now. After some time, the Great Master said, Swamiji, isn't it a great pity that so many yogis, so many Swamis, so many holy people are all trapped in the 6 centers below the eyes, and nobody knows about the 12 centers above? The Swamiji said, Master, what are these 12 centers? I've never heard about them. I've heard of these 6 centers, and I've heard of the 7th sometimes, they say. But I never heard these 12 higher centers. Great Master said, have you not heard? There are 18 centers, 6 centers of energy, and 12 centers of awareness. He said, Master, I never heard this thing. Can you please explain to me in detail what these 18 centers are? So Great Master said, well, you know, it's a very long subject to explain all the 18 centers. But if you can care to come to my dera in Punjab, then I can explain to you. The conversation ended there. Then program was going on, Great Master went, saw some places. Next day Swamiji came, he said, I could not sleep all night. All night I'm wondering where those 12 centers are. I've never heard those higher centers. So he wound up his ashram. He wound up his ashram and came to the dera near the river Byas in India, where Great Master was living. And he said, I must learn about these 18 centers. I've never heard 18 chakras. Only 6 I know. So once he was there, Great Master ordered that Swamiji should be given the highest respect, and he should be given the best accommodation in the guest house, in the dera. And he should be treated with utmost courtesy. He should sit with me when I give satsang, when I give a discourse. Swamiji should sit next to me. And if he wants to see me, he can see me 24/7, day or night. These orders were given. Swamiji was treated with a VVIP treatment. He was very happy. And he walked even more proudly. So Swamiji was being treated so nicely. And in the satsang, when the discourse took place, Swamiji sat next to Great Master. And Great Master would say, all the yogis and yogeshwars are all trapped in this 6 center. They don't know anything about the real thing. The real stuff is all above that. And Swamiji would look like this. After some days, Swamiji said, Master, I have a little problem. And Great Master says, yes, Swamiji, what is your problem? He said, when I sit and you talk, I have to turn my head and look at you. I've got a pain in my neck. Great Master said, I also noticed that. So you should sit in front. So from the pedestal, he was put down on the ground, given a special chair. After some days, Swamiji said that I have a little problem. Great Master said, what is the problem now? He said, now the problem is that you are sitting on the high stage there. I sit in front and I have to look up like this, so I got a pain in the neck again. Oh, Great Master said, I also noticed that. Move Swamiji's chair about 20, 30 feet behind. So it was placed in the middle of the Sangat there. Then again, after a few days, Swamiji said, Master, I have a problem. He said, now Swamiji, what is your problem? He said, the problem is that I sit on a chair. People behind me are sitting on the floor. They can't have your darshan. I feel very guilty. Instead of listening to you, I'm worried about them. So he can't pay attention. Great Master said, I also noticed that. Remove his chair. Ultimately, they put him down exactly along with the common people anywhere. During that time, he also one day tested whether it is true that he can see the great master anytime he likes. So, in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock, he went and knocked on the door. I want to see great master. And all the sevadars had been given instruction. When Swamiji comes, he should be given full access. They went and woke up great master. Swamiji has come. Bring him here. Yes, Swamiji, what can I do for you? He said, no, just came for your darshan. He said, okay. So he tested that he was really being given the VVIP treatment. So great master, because he was a practitioner of Ayurveda, they gave him a small place where he placed his Ayurvedic medicines, began to practice in the dera. In those days, I was also doing little homeopathic treatments, so they had given me also a little small place. So we were next to each other, and we would compare notes. After a few months' stay, I was sitting with this Swamiji, and I said, Swamiji, aren't you happy here? He said, I had so much ego in me when I came, that if the master had not given me VVIP treatment, I would have gone back. He is a great diplomat. This master of yours is a big diplomat, that he diplomatically first put me high up, then he brought me down to my own real level, and now he has trapped me with his love, and I can't go anywhere. So that is why he learned this, but he learned about these centers of awareness, that this is our pind, our body, physical body. These 6 centers control our physical activity. They don't control any other activity. The physical body is controlled by physical. Even what is our mind and our senses are being now confined to what is in the physical body. So we call this the pind. Pind means physical body. There's a pindi mind, pindi senses, and pindi body. Everything is physical here. When you are sitting in this 6 chakras and enjoying these energy centers, you are totally physical. But if you are not living in these 6 centers, but are living higher up somewhere, you can be in And, Brahmand and Sachkhand. Those are the higher centers. So those centers are all confined, but they are available like the same centers, like you have 6 centers below, you have 12 centers above. They represent the astral, which is And, or the causal, which is Brahmand, and Sachkhand, which is our true home. Those centers are above us, and they are all confined to the little space above. And this Swamiji learned that from that moment onwards, that the true search for the self, for the Atma, cannot take place while we are still in the physical body and looking at the physical centers. So I'm just sharing this with you, how he came to realize that our truth cannot be found just by focusing on the 6 centers. And why that is important is because so many of us don't distinguish between energy center and center of awareness. And I did not distinguish for many years. And that is why I'm sharing this experience with you, that if you want to find your true self, the immortal self, not mind, not senses, how you're sensing things, not perception, your true self, the very seat of consciousness from where you have come, which is permanent, which is our true home, it will be found in a small space in the body above the eyes. The starting point, which they said 2-petaled lotus, is the same 2-petaled lotus. These physical eyes, they look outward. They can't look inward. When we say, let us look what is inside us, you can't use these eyes to look inside. They are meant for looking outside. But we have eyes that look inside. We all have. And we are all using them. When you imagine something, supposing you close your eyes and imagine something, you're walking on the street, you're seeing people. When you imagine, which eye is seeing that? Eye of the mind, eye of the inner senses, not these physical senses. You can see inside, and with inner eyes, you can also do other things with the inner body. You can walk inside. With your imagination, you can do anything. When you imagine things, then automatically you are using something else, not the physical sense perceptions at all. So when you start meditating upon that self of yours, which is not pinned, not physical, but still has all the sense perceptions, I sometimes in these meditation sessions that we have, and I do like to make people actually meditate, because otherwise it's all talk. Meditation should be done personally. I don't know, now there's a very short visit I have, but I would still like to do some meditation session with you. How many of you would be interested? Real meditation. Very good, we will do it. So, this meditation is to meditate upon the real self and go to the higher levels, not go back into the same chakras which are controlling the physical body. If we can take this body to be our house, and you at the wakeful state, we are all awake, we want to be aware of where we are. Simple method is to not look at the world outside, either with the eyes or with imagination, but think of what is happening inside. Where is the inside? If you close your eyes, you can see a dark space. That is all inside you. Looks like inside. Actually, it's not inside, because you're still looking outside. By closing eyes, you don't become inside. You're only looking outside, but you can't see outside because you close your eyes. That is not meditation inside. And why am I saying this? Because my friends are doing it for 30, 40 years. They're closing their eyes and thinking they are inside. They can't see outside because they've closed their eyes. If they open their eyes, they could see. And I give them a little experiment to tell them that you are not looking inside, you're looking outside. How? Because what they do is they close their eyes and make themselves into a little small image. There we are sitting inside. And they're looking upon a little image of theirs and thinking that is our own self, now looking inside. That image is never inside. That image is always outside. So the experiment I tell them is to close your eyes and think if you're inside, then you bring your hands up like this, touch your eyes. You will find by the time you touch your eyes, you already crossed that image which you created and you thought that was inside. It's being made outside. You're trying to make that image with these eyes outside. It's a common error that people make for many, many years, even while doing meditation. And they get no result inside because they never go inside. To go inside requires different kind of activity. So it took me many years to understand even this simple thing about meditation. If we want to find who we really are, we have to disassociate this body from any nature of our own self. It's a house we live in. House with the 6 floors, we're living on the 6th floor. We go and decorate that place. We go and do meditation there. If you're doing meditation with the physical body, you will never go inside. And people are doing it. That's why I've come to share this key elements with you. Other things you all know, books are there. You can read the books, you can hear any number of satsangs, you can know all these things. Everybody knows that, but they don't know the key elements which are keeping them outside. How come I meet my friends who are initiated by the same masters, and they say we have been meditating for 40 years, 50 years, nothing has happened. Why could nothing is happening? Because they're not inside. They're constantly looking outside and think something will happen inside. So that is why I will participate with you, and we will do some meditation, genuine meditation, where you will have an experience of what it means to be inside. And then from there you can go further. So this whole idea that we are caught up in the 6 centers of energy and are considering this body to be our own self, there's a reason for it. The reason is that we did not use our mind to create a picture only. We wanted to create reality. This is a reality. What is real? When we say something is real, what is real? Only that can be real which never changes. If something changes, it can't be real. Permanent reality must be that which never changes. Whereas when we look outside in the world, everything is changing. Our body is changing, our life is changing, the world is changing, even the galaxies are changing. Scientifically, there's nothing stable at all. The only thing that is not changing is our own self looking at the change. The self that is witnessing the change has never changed. But everything else has changed. Therefore, if you want to find something true and real, it has to be your own self that is watching the whole creation outside and inside. So that is why our aim should be to find the truth and the reality of our own self. But in the process of doing so, we can have many other experiences. So the other experiences we have are interesting. First of all, we have got trapped right here in the physical world, think that the physical reality is our own self. It was very cleverly designed. This whole idea of having an experience here was cleverly designed. It was designed so that we can have a big drama, big show on a stage, and then we should be watching the show. If you watch a show from a distance, then it looks like a show. If you watch a show from inside one of the characters, it becomes real. Clever design. Supposing you have a stage, and on the stage you set up many actors, and then you also become an actor also on the same stage. Then you are acting and watching at the same time. Then that becomes a real drama. What is happening here is that we are creating a drama and then put our real self into one of the characters, and then we are watching from inside the show. So that is why it becomes so real. So we have to now discover how we got into one of these characters. How did we pick up one character? How did we make our destiny? When we say that we have come here born differently, some people have been born rich, some have been born poor, some are born deformed with sickness, some are very healthy. What is the basis for having different kind of life? The answer given in the textbooks is, it is our karma of past lives. We have done so many actions which were good and bad, and good actions are leading to good results and we are enjoying them, and bad actions we did are causing us problems, sickness and accidents, and bad things are happening to us. It's all our karma. But karma is in the mind. When we first came from our true home, there was no karma. Where did karma come from? How did we have karma when there was no karma at all? Karma was not created on the soul at all. Soul is free from karma. Mind creates karma. So how did we decide what kind of karma we should have when there was no karma at all? First time we are coming from our own Sachkhand. When we first come from Sachkhand, we don't have any karma, but since we are going to have a show of a reality, of a stage, we have to pick up one particular show, one particular drama. So there are many books of drama. Sometimes they call them DVDs. There are many DVDs stored inside us. By the way, what I'm going to tell you is not just a theoretical model. Anybody can check out these things. You can meditate, go in and see these things. That when we first come from our Sachkhand, we are given a choice. Pick up whichever drama you like. Big library is there. That's in the mind, in the causal self, in the Karan Sharir. When we are in that Karan, we put on the first costume of a Karan Sharir, we are allowed to pick up one drama. So then we look at all the dramas possible. We say, I can take this one, I'll be very rich. Yeah, if I take this, I'll be very poor. If I take this, I'll be living in Swarg and heaven. If I take this is very bad, I'll be in hell. How did we decide which one to pick up as the first life? First life we picked up very cleverly. All of you are present in this hall, I can tell you what, this presence hall, that you picked up this life because you found that after certain lifetimes, when you are tired of this drama, you can go back home. That's why you picked up. Otherwise, you would never pick up drama with high and low, like a roller coaster, this life that is leading. You picked up this because you found out after so many lives, you can go home. That's why you picked up. That was part of the sequence of dramas. The law of karma required that whatever happens in one life will go into the next. But to have the very first life, you had to written up a drama for past lives which you never lived. So when we come here first time, we have a past life that we never lived. But you can't create the present life without past life karma. So this is all part of a written drama. So we picked up a show of our own choice, a DVD, and started playing it, and that is our life. But once we start playing it, then we go again to future lives and became real. So we got trapped here. In the life drama, we got trapped. But first time, we had no past lives and we had no karma. And truthfully speaking, the soul, even today, our real self, has no karma at all. It never has. Soul never had any karma, never got involved in any karma. But when it began to identify that there is no difference between soul and mind, all the karma came upon us. We just misidentified ourselves in the mind. If you want to do real meditation, first thing is to separate yourself from the mind. Mind is a thinking machine. When you think, all these thoughts that come are taking place because you're using a machine called mind. You're using mind to think, mind to speak, mind to write, mind to do everything. You're using something. It does not become the you have become the mind. But we start thinking, there's no difference. I am thinking means my soul is thinking. Soul can't think. Soul doesn't need to think. Why should it think? It has got a machine to think. It uses the machine of the mind to think. And that is why when we identify ourselves and mix up mind and soul, we get into trouble. When we separate it, we are out of trouble. Meditation can help you to see yourself separate. You can sit quietly and watch your mind think. In these meditation techniques that we follow, which are consistent with his teachings, great masters, you can separate yourself from the mind, from the senses, from this body, and see they are all functioning to give you experience of a certain drama that you came for. So that is why when we are able to separate ourselves, then you know that you are consciousness. Your power is to become conscious of anything that you like. And the mind and senses and body are being used for that purpose. It does not mean that you have become those. To understand this fully, one has to actually experience it. To experience who are we if we are not the physical body, you should be able to become unaware of the physical body. If you cannot do that, you will never know who you are. Which, when you die, you leave the physical body, then you know who you are, automatically. If you die, the physical body is being confined to the flames or being buried away, you know you are not the body. You stand and watch your body being buried. You're standing and saying, I thought I was the body, but the body is being burnt now. You can see it. But after you see it, you can't tell anybody else. You try to shout, but you have no body, no voice to shout, so nobody understands you. So, therefore, the system that is good available to us is to die without dying. That means dying while living. If you are having the same experience, identical to what will happen when you physically die, if you can create that now, you will know that this body is not you. First part of good meditation is to do that. To be able to die while living. To be able to die while living, you should know how people die. If you have seen people dying, I have seen many people die and watch them, terminal illnesses. We see people dying and watch them, we talk to them. They're talking to us and ultimately die. You will notice that when a person dies, he first does not know, he or she does not know where the hands and feet have gone. They say, can you put my leg on this side? Patient is saying in the hospital, and the leg is already there. They lose the consciousness of the hands and feet, the legs and arms first. Then they lose consciousness of the bottom of their body. Then they lose consciousness gradually up. Ultimately, when it's halfway up the body, they can't speak anymore. The lungs are dead, this part is dead, and they can see their eyes are moving, they can't speak. Then they die further. Ultimately, when the brain dies, when the head dies, they are dead and the body is finished. The same process can be done through meditation. If you meditate with your attention in the head, which dies last, if you put your attention behind the eyes and pull your attention there by concentrating it there only, gradually you will find you don't know where your hands and feet are. You don't know then where your legs and arms have gone. Then you won't know where your body is going. Exactly same way. Ultimately, you will become totally unaware where the body is, and your new self opens up and you discover you are never the body. This can be done while you are living. That is why they recommend that if you want to be successful in knowing who you are, you should practice dying while living. There's a little story about it. Because this is a heavy subject, I know that I have to tell little stories also in between. Sometimes I am accused of telling too many jokes. Now, because it is light, to tell a joke is light, the story is light, and the subject is heavy. The story is of a man who was a businessman in India. He used to do business with Africa. He used to carry some Indian silks or something and would bring cashew nuts or something else from Africa. Import and export business he was doing. Every year he would go to Africa and he would go through an area where there was a jungle, a forest. In the forest there were parrots, very beautiful parrots. So he decided to take one parrot with him to India. So he bought a cage. He bought a cage and he captured one small parrot and he brought him to India. And he trained the parrot to sing songs and have a good time in the cage, would serve favorite parrot food. Parrot food, churi and chilies. The parrots like chilies and they like also a churi made of flour and some ghee and some sugar in it. So he fed his parrot with nice churi and chilies, and the parrot was enjoying himself and singing in the cage. Then this businessman was going back to Africa. He told his parrot, he said, I am going to your homeland. Any message you want to send to your people? And the parrot said, yes, tell them I am enjoying having my churi and having my chilies and enjoying my dancing and singing in the cage. So he went to the African forest after his business. He called all the parrots. Parrots, come here, I have a message for you. You remember, I took one parrot from here to India. That parrot has sent you a message. He says, I am enjoying my life in the cage, I am singing and dancing, and I am eating my churi and chili, I am very happy. One older parrot sitting on a tree, on the branch of a tree, got tears in his eyes, and he fell down dead. The businessman was very upset. I should not have told such a message. He must be very close to my parrots. So he came back. When he came back, he told the parrot in the cage, he said, I gave your message, but one elderly parrot there could not bear to hear your message. So when I told him that you are enjoying your life in the cage and eating churi and chili and all that, the parrot had tears in his eyes and he fell down dead. On hearing this, the parrot in the cage had tears in his eyes and he fell down dead. He said, oh foolish businessman, if you knew that they were so close to each other, you killed both the parrots by conveying this message. So he took out the parrot and threw it away. As soon as he threw the parrot out from the cage, the parrot opened its wings and began to fly. He said, you aren't dead after all? Parrot said, no, I am not dead. Even that parrot in the jungle is not dead. He just sent me a message. And the message was, if you want to get out of this cage, die while living. So that's just a story. Just a story to emphasize the point that if we can die while living, we can have the same experience. There are some advantages in having that experience. And by the way, all of you can have it. It's not one of the difficult parts of meditation. It's the easy part. To have an experience of dying while living, that means becoming unaware of the body and discovering you are somebody else, is not difficult. We will do it. The intention there is that you discover that you have been putting your emphasis on a body which is not yourself at all. It's like a garment you are wearing. You have old clothes, you take them off and put new ones. Bodies change like that. Body is not reality. You are inside, real. And all your problems, all your karma, all dukh sukh that you are having in this world is because of your thinking you are the body. Imagine if you stop that. Stop thinking you are the body, you are somebody living inside watching the show. Body is going through a show and you are just watching, sitting inside. Life changes instantly. It does not take time. The moment you come to know you are wearing a costume and the costume belongs to a particular role in a drama, and that's what you are doing, you are watching the show from inside, you don't do anything. You just sit inside and watch. The life changes. Only when we have the problem, we think we are this body, these are my problems, these are my children, these are my issues, these are my business, this is my house, my property, all the problems come. Otherwise, drama, you can watch the drama. You don't have to watch only good drama. I see people paying ticket for going to horror movies. People are being killed, so many horrible things are happening, and they are willing to pay money to watch that show. Why? Because they know they are not the characters. And yet, when you are watching a movie on the screen, it looks so real. We forget it is a movie. If we constantly remember, oh, these are just shadows coming, there are just pictures being made, there's a projector behind me, and the light is coming through projector, and it is only a movie show going on, we'll never enjoy the movie. Nobody remembers a projector when you are looking at a movie. It looks so real. Now what will happen? Now next scenes, and you are all sitting on edge on the chairs. Something bad happens, you're crying, and you laugh with the movie as if it is all real. Why do we do that? Why don't we say, that's just a movie, it's not real, we are not bothered about it, we're just watching it. You will never enjoy it. The reason why we enjoy a movie and want to forget it's a movie and think it is real has been explained by a Greek philosopher long ago. His name was Aristotle, a disciple of Plato and grand disciple of Socrates, who was like a perfect master in his own time, the Greek master. So Aristotle explains that in our life we have so much pressure on our lives, emotional pressure, that we are subduing ourselves with emotional pressures. We can't share with anybody. But when we see a movie or see a drama, in those days there was no movie, there was drama. When we see a drama, we identify ourselves with those characters and think we are like those characters. And we are able to get our emotions out and become light-hearted. That's the real reason. When we go to see a movie and we enjoy it, it's that reason, that we are taking care of our inner emotions that are locked up. We can't tell anybody. And when we see a movie, we automatically unload them on the characters which are merely shadows. But the shadows become real for us. Otherwise, one can say, how is the movie coming about? It's a flat screen there. Sometime now they have 3D movies also. It looks like not a flat screen, but that is only because they put two pictures on the same screen and two eyes see two different visions and we combine them. Same thing these eyes are doing now, by the way. These eyes are watching this world movie also same way. Otherwise we would have one eye. Why do we have two eyes? Two eyes have been given to us so to create distance. If it only one eye, there would be nothing distant. Flat picture will become the world. So with two eyes, it creates distance. Something is near, something is far. We have got two ears to give a direction. This sound is coming from here, this sound is coming from here. Otherwise, one ear was enough. So these have been given to create time and space for us. Our body has been constructed to create time and space around us. If one were to say a movie is a film loaded, scene will not change. When we watch a movie, we say, now what will happen next? What will happen next already happened behind us. But we think it's going to happen in front of us. Life is like that. When we are watching this destiny of our life, everything is pre-recorded, complete, 100%. And yet we say, what will happen next? What will happen tomorrow? Same thing, because we don't know the future. We deliberately block the knowledge of our future in order to make it real. And otherwise, we are doing the same thing like watching a movie. There is a film already loaded in the projector behind. It cannot change. If there was no light falling, supposing light fails, supposing light in a movie hall fails, we don't see anything. If our light of consciousness fails, we die, nothing happens. Supposing the film is changed, our destiny is changed, we will see different drama right here. There's no difference living this life than watching a movie. It's the same thing. We just are taking it very seriously because we have to get our emotional pressures released. As he said, he calls it a willing suspension of disbelief. And normally you won't believe what is happening. You willingly, when you sit in the theater, at that time you want to not disbelieve, but just believe what is happening. There was a young boy in a village who had never seen a movie. In India, there are a lot of villages. At that time, this is an old story. Man had never seen a movie, and his friends took him to the city, and they showed a movie. In that movie, there was a scene where a girl comes, and she is going to take a bath in a pond. And when she's taking her clothes off, this young man gets very excited. Now I'm going to see that woman taking her clothes off. A train passes in front. And by the time the train goes, the girl is in the water. He went 20 times to see the movie, that one day train will be late. We live life like that too. The train will come the same way every day, every time. Our life will be led, we may lead 20 times, 100 times the same life. Life will be exactly the same. But we think maybe we can change a little bit, maybe we can have some. It is exactly like a movie. This life is like a movie. And it is not something to just make believe in our own head. It is something to verify. Verification of the fact that a movie is actually being recorded much earlier, is only being played in the theater, can take place by going into a projector room and seeing the movie being put in the big picture, those big rolls of movie on the projector, lights being put behind it, and then only you are able to see the movie. You can go inside here and see the projector. The projector is our own mind. The light is our own soul. And the movie was designed much earlier when we picked up our DVD in the causal plane before ever coming here. Same movie will be played over and over again. And you can see it. It's all inside. Nothing is outside. These are not stories I'm trying to make. These are facts which everybody can verify. And the secrets are all lying inside. We run outside to find a secret that's lying inside. We are running into temples, running into mosques, running temples, churches, all outside man-made buildings. We are going to find something that's lying entirely inside. The only temple, the only real place where you can find truth is in your own head. And you're carrying it with you all the time. You're going around everywhere. Truth is all inside. Nothing is outside at all. So that is why it is important to practice this thing personally and verify these things and not have blind belief. I must tell you one big thing I learned from my Satguru, Baba Sawan Singh Ji. He said, do not believe anything unless you see yourself. Very important lesson. We start believing things somebody has said, therefore we believe. He's an enlightened person, I'm going to believe him. No matter how. Don't even believe your guru unless you have seen something yourself. That was his teaching. That you must personally examine and believe only as much as you see. It does not mean that you have to believe everything at once. First belief is that you exist, that you are alive, that everybody knows. We don't have to ask any definition from somebody, am I alive or not? We all know we are alive. So start only from there. I am alive. I am in a body. How am I alive in a body? Where am I alive? Where is my life coming from? Simple question put to ourselves. Let me go in and find out. Simple starting point. No blind faith in this. Everything that you find through meditation, by practicing going inside, is what you should believe, and no more. If you find one more experience, believe that. But it does not mean that you keep on questioning all the time without trying anything. We argue and try so, by words, by argument so much, and we don't try to go inside. Another story, a man fell into a well. He was a professor, I think, intellectual professor. And he, in the well in a village, there was nothing, no wall around it, so he fell into the well. And he began to cry. Water was shallow, he did not drown, fortunately. He was howling and crying. Some villagers came and saw a man fall into a well. He said, "I'm sorry you fell into a well. I'll bring a rope and I'll pull you out." He said, "Before you get the rope, first explain to me why I fell." He said, "You know, we can discuss this thing when you come out." No, no, no. Firstly, you explain to me why I fell. Secondly, you explain to me that you will bring a rope. How can I trust you? I can't trust you. You are a stranger to me. Thirdly, how can I know that when you bring the rope and I hold on to the rope, you will not drop me again? And the man said, "Look, you are crying inside. I have come to help you. I am going to bring a rope and take you out." He said, "No, first answer all my questions. Unless you satisfy me on my questions, why should you go and bring a rope for me?" So the man said, "All right, then you stay in the well." That is our condition. Sometimes we go asking questions to such an extent, not trying anything at all. You should be able to take a leap of faith for the first leap. It does not mean that you have to believe the whole thing. You at least believe the first step is just to go inside and see, is it true that there is something inside? Just that one, simple one. Then you will automatically go to next step, and next step, ultimately you will go to your own true home also. But to have questioning to that extent, question up to a certain point is good. I must tell you, otherwise people can make a fool of you. If you believe everything people tell you, they can make a fool of you. People do make a fool of us. Many of us are fooled by people. But if you are willing to say, "All right, I will try one step. If that succeeds, I will take the next step," then you are safe. But does not mean that you keep on questioning outside without even trying. So try and take first leap only. Well, I am just sharing these stories with you. It's just from my great experience with Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh Ji. So I have nothing personal that I can be adding on to these stories. So I confine myself. Only I am translating into English language. Why am I doing it? He mentioned to me in 1937. I was 11 years old. And he told me, and he told many others, including an American satsangi, American disciple of his, Dr. Julian Johnson, whose books some of you might have read, Path of the Masters and With a Great Master in India and so on. He told Julian Johnson that in history, all the big saints and mystics have come in the East. West was a newly discovered area, especially America, was newly discovered, and they are concentrating their attention on making physical wealth. They want to become rich, they want to have more industry, more factories, more this thing, just for physical wealth. And spiritual wealth has all been in the East, in India, China, that area. Now a shift is taking place. In the next century, there will be a big shift, and the axis of spirituality will shift there, and the money making and industrialization will come this side. This he said in 1937. I heard him more than once. He told Julian Johnson, he wrote 2-3 letters to people in America that this will happen. So the shift that is taking place toward the West is visible, and I can see it. He had mentioned to me about this shift. And when I now see what is happening, strictly according to what he said, I have come to the West. I did not want to go to America and settle there or to come to the West. I was very happy. I had a good job. I retired on good pension. I was in the Indian Administrative Service. That is a good job, supposed to be. I was offered governorship of a state when I retired and a member of the cabinet. I was given a lot of opportunities. I still said, no, let me see where the new sparkle of light is going to come according to Great Master. So that is why I went and took a ringside seat to watch the show there, and I'm watching it. The show is taking place there. So it is for that reason that this is all happening. Otherwise, I would be leading a good, nice, retired life, but he wanted me to share his teaching in the West. I began to do that. I speak like a parrot. You know that. Parrot, you teach anything to the parrot, it will start speaking. So before I break for lunch, I'll tell you parrot story. I told you one parrot story already. This is the second parrot story, little bit naughty. You don't mind? Some naughty story, okay. There was a church, a pastor of a church, a minister of a church. He had 2 parrots, and he trained them to speak verses from the Bible, holy words. And the parrots were constantly speaking holy words. Nice atmosphere was created in the house and in the church. And he also gave them beads, mala. He gave them mala and beads in their hands, and they would move the mala like this, these parrots, and keep on speaking holy words. Very good atmosphere was created. So one of his parishioners who was following that church, he saw that. He said, what a good idea to have parrots which speak all the time, and they speak good words. So he told the pastor that your parrots are speaking so well, it's a good idea. He said, you can train these parrots. Whatever you train the parrots, they speak the same thing. So you can also get 2 parrots and train them. So he went and bought 2 parrots, and he brought them home. Now, as it happened, the parrots that this man bought were female parrots. They were female parrots. The church man had male parrots. So these female parrots, when he opened them, they began to say, we are hookers, that means prostitutes. We are hookers. Do you want to have a good time? He was very shocked. What kind of parrots I have brought? So he said to the pastor, I made a big mistake. I got these female parrots. They are speaking this kind of dirty language, and they are not speaking good words like your parrots. He said the man who had these parrots before, he must have trained them to say those words. You can retrain them, and then they will speak good words. So therefore, you just train them. In fact, he said, I can lend you my own parrots with their beads in their hands, the mala in their hands, and they will speak that, and your parrots will also learn them. So he brought the priest's parrots, the pastor's parrots home, and the parrots were holding the beads and saying holy words. And when the female parrots, they came across them, the female parrots began to say, we are hookers, you want to have a good time? And the the 2 parrots of the priest, one looked at the other, and he said, throw away your beads, our prayers have been answered. That's an old story. It's one of the different parrot stories. I remember a man went into a shop to buy a parrot. Now this is what happened when I became chairman of a corporation. During my service, I became chairman of a few corporations, so they were giving me a party and giving me congratulations that you become chairman. Then one man in the party gave me the story of a parrot. He said a man went to buy a parrot, and he saw parrot was selling for $40, $50, many yellow and green parrots, ordinary parrots. But there were 3 big ones sitting on top of the shelf, very colorful. One was very beautiful, red and blue colors, feathers. The other one also very beautiful golden feathers. Third one was an old parrot, gray. So this man said, what about those parrots? He said, those are very expensive, you can't afford them, don't even look at them. He says, no, but I still want to know, those big parrots, they're so pretty, what is the price? He said, the first one is $10,000. He said, $50 and $10,000, what is so special about it? He said, that parrot can speak 7 languages. That's very rare. That is why $10,000 for a 7-language parrot. Now, what about the next one? He said, that is more expensive, $15,000. Why is it more expensive? Because he can speak 7 languages, can also sing in 7 languages. Okay, that's very good. This very third one was very ugly, brownish-looking parrot. He said, what about that one? He said, that is $25,000. I said, what is so special about him? Man said, I don't know what is special about him. The only thing I know is these other two keep on calling him Mr. Chairman. That is what happened to the chairman. The old parrot stories, you see, we used to hear these parrot stories. Anyway, we become parrot-like because we speak thinking that it's from our mind. Actually, it's all pre-written. I went for interview in the Navy in India. Interview was held in a city called Lucknow in UP, Uttar Pradesh. And after the interview, I came out and there was a man with a turban on his head. And he said to me, good luck. I said, yes. I said, Sardarji, why are you speaking in English? You can speak Punjabi. I am from Punjab. He said, no, because I can tell you something. So, all right, tell me. Do you have a piece of paper? I said, yes. I had a file with me. I took out a piece of paper. He said, he took the piece of paper, looked into my eyes, and began to write something. He kept on writing. I said, he's trying some trick, like making a guess what I'm thinking or something. Anyway, he wrote on the paper something, then he folded the paper, then he folded again. He said, hey, hold this paper in your hand. So I was holding the paper in my hand. And then he said, have you more paper? I said, yes, I took more paper. Write a number between 1 and 10. I said, this is old story I used to do as a child in the school. If you tell people write number between 1 and 10, they will write 5. This man is expecting me to write 5. I am going to call his bluff off. So I wrote 3. That he can't guess 3. Then he said, write the name of a flower. The most common flower, people write rose. But I'm not going to write rose. So I thought of another flower, I thought of chameli. Jasmine in Punjabi was chameli. So I wrote Chameli, chameli. He said, write your date of birth. I wrote 1926. He says, no, that is not your date of birth, that is your year. Right date. So I, after that, wrote November 26, which is my date of birth of the physical body. So he said, now open the paper I gave you before you wrote all these things. So I opened the paper. It said 3, chameli, 1926, and then the date, exactly like I had it. It struck me, I had not even thought what to write when he wrote it. And he completely stumped me because I could not even imagine, I was even thinking, and he was writing beforehand. He said, shall I tell you something more? I was still stunned, but he said, shall I tell you something more? I said, yes, go ahead. He said, when I asked you to write a number between 1 and 5, you thought, this man is thinking I will write 5, I will call off his bluff, and therefore I will write 3. He repeated my thought, which came afterwards, after he had written the number. Then he said, when I asked you to write the name of a flower, you said I'm going to write the name of a flower, which is never heard of, otherwise he thinks I'm going to write. He knew my thought exactly as I had thought, and he knew it before I thought. It was such a big revelation for me that how can he know what I'm going to think? How can he know what I'm going to decide? I decided, I made a choice. I used my free will, that I can do what I like. I can write whatever number I like. How can he know it beforehand? The fact that my choice making, my thinking how to decide something is known to this man, it's amazing. It's not only that he knows the result of my thinking, he knows how I thought. That I was thinking I was very original in my thinking. And the man knew my originality before I even thought. So I said, how do you know? Tell me, teach me some method. He said, we are a group of people called Bhatras. And we are a declining class. We were taught this method to read people's mind before they even think. That means you can read somebody's mind what he will think 5 minutes later. It was such an eye-opener that we think our thinking is taking place now. Thinking has also taken place earlier, otherwise nobody else can know it. So this was such a big revelation that what we think is destiny is all pre-written, completely, including how we will think, how we will decide is pre-written. But just because we go through the process of thinking and deciding, say, no, it should be like this, it should be like that, therefore, we think it is free will that we are deciding. But the way our mind decides is also predetermined. That is a great, clever thing to give us the feeling that we have free will, we can make a choice. We are making our own destiny, we are deciding every day. If somebody can already know this, where did he know from? I wanted to know, where did this man read my thinking which has not yet taken place? Thinking took place afterwards, and he's telling me beforehand in writing. So I discovered that this was a special training they got, these Bhatras, which is a very declining group now. We met some in London, we met other places also, in different parts of the world they exist. But that they could know what the thinking will be like to make a decision was a very clear thing, that everything is written beforehand. We don't believe it, but it's true. Why do we believe that we can think and decide new things now? Is because we can't see the future. Supposing you can see your future, your free will end right there. Because you will know it's already written. You can't think differently. You can't choose differently. Same thing happened when I was studying in the university in America, and Harvard University. I was a student, I got a fellowship there. And we used to discuss these things, some students. And one student was also very keen to know about free will. Big subject on the university to discuss. Do we have free will or not? Because there are many implications. The implication is, if you have no free will, if it is already written somewhere, you are just repeating what is written, then how can you be punished for karma that's written already? It's a big question. We say it's your bad karma, therefore you are suffering. If your bad karma was written beforehand, whoever wrote it should be punished, not you. And who wrote it? Of course, the secret comes out later on that you yourself wrote it, but not in this physical body, not in the physical self. You wrote another form, and therefore now you are playing it out. But unless you see that form and know that when you wrote that destiny or how you picked up that destiny, it becomes very miraculous how it happens. So that man one day, he called me and my friend, student there. He said, I have found out definitely. He was a very religious man. He was a Catholic American. And he said, I have found out beyond doubt that we have no free will. So I said, come to my apartment and we'll test out this knowledge, new knowledge you have got. You have no free will. So he came and I said, I'll play a trick on him. So before he came to my apartment, I had a tray and I put 3 cups in it. I poured tea in 1 cup and I poured coffee in the 2nd cup and I left the 3rd cup empty. I said, when he will come, I will ask him to make a choice without free will. Let us see what happens. When he came, I said, how did you find out that you have no free will? He said, I am a believer in God, firm believer in God. And he said, are you? I said, I am also a firm believer in God. So common thing. We both believe in God. You may call him God, I may call him Parameshwar, whatever, different name, but we both believe in God. He said, God is defined as omnipresent. He is everywhere. Omnipotent. He is full power. And omniscient. He knows everything. That was the key element. If God knows everything, and you are saying you are going to take a decision that God does not know, if He knows already, God knows already what you are going to decide, how can it be free will then? Then you are acting according to God's knowledge. You can't go outside of it. God knows it, therefore you are acting according to God's will, and therefore you have no real free will. I said, very good argument. Now tell me, without your free will you have coffee or tea or nothing? I've got all 3 cups ready. And don't use your free will, you don't have any. And he got stumped. He said, I came to such a big conclusion, you destroyed my conclusion with a cup of coffee and tea. I said, I am going to demonstrate to you that you not only have free will, you cannot avoid free will. You cannot avoid choosing. Every day in your life you have to make choice. And therefore that choice you make is exercise of free will. You are saying you have no free will, and I am going to show, or without free will, tell me whether you have tea or coffee. You can't do it. So you have to make a choice. So he said, all my knowledge has vanished with these 2 cups of tea and coffee. But what is the secret? I said, now I'll take the other side. I will tell you that you are right, you have no free will, without bringing God into it. I'll exclude God, because maybe we can be atheist, we don't believe in God. You should still hold true what we are saying. Now let me use the scientific method without bringing God into it. When you make a choice, how does your brain work to make a choice? There are only 2 set of factors. One, genetic. Now I'm going into scientific. Your genes, your DNA molecule. The genetics have come up from your parents, from grandparents, from your whole line, and maybe they liked coffee. Therefore, you genetically are inclined to take coffee. And when you were thinking, what should I take, the genes played their role, you took coffee. It's not your choice. Choice of genetics, which you can't change. When you had to make a choice, you could not change your genes. Or they can be environmental, that you lived among children, among other students who were taking coffee, they liked coffee more, and that is why you got accustomed to coffee. But even that environmental factor was not available, could not be changed when you made a choice. You already lived through it. Therefore, there are only 2 factors that make us choice, no third one. Therefore, there is no real free will, just based on the scientific fact. But then why do we believe that we have free will? Supposing we don't believe we have free will, it's all written, do you know the law of karma will end at that time? Karma is dependent upon our ignorance. Karma is dependent upon not knowing the future and saying, now I am deciding and now I have to be punished. Own mind is creating karma, not outside. We give definition to our actions and decisions in our own mind. This was bad, it becomes bad. This was good, it becomes good. It's our own mind creating this good and bad, creating karma, creating reaction to that, and automatically when our mind says, I am guilty, I have done something wrong, you are punished. You are punished right there and then punished again later on. The double punishment. If you get rewarded, you feel happy, you've done a good thing, then you are rewarded again in subsequent life. So we are creating these things through a set pattern which looks like ours, therefore we take responsibility for our karma. If you get enlightened, that means supposing you can find this whole show going on, your karma will end right there. You'll just watch a show. When we go see a movie, we don't discuss karma, what is happening on the movie. Same thing will happen to our life. That we don't then go into this karma theory. Karma is only a made-up case for the show. But to be able to see the show, you must be able to see who you are and where you are watching the show from. You are watching this show in the physical world from a nice seat, nice chair, right behind the eyes, at a point between the ears. I can tell you very specific. Right between the ears, behind the eyes. Where like these fingers, I put my fingers like this, these are eyeballs, where they meet like this, that distance behind. That's where you're operating. According to these doctors who do the surgery of the brain, they call that area, the area of the pituitary gland. There's a medulla oblongata hanging there. There's a pineal gland and pituitary gland right in the center. It's called the center of consciousness. And both from medical anatomy point of view and from experience point of view, that is where you are. Simple method to find the truth is to concentrate your attention at that point. I will see you again, and if you like, we will go and sit on that point and actually practice and see how much we can see right today itself. Okay? I will have a break now for lunch, and you also go and enjoy some food for the body. I've given you too much food for the mind. So we'll meet at 3 o'clock and do some actual meditation practice at the third eye center behind the eyes. Thank you very much.